Live from the Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL9 News at 4.
Of the season. Rain pouring down, and we're not done yet.
Also, people have been braving the weather to make sure they cast their ballots in an election that could change the direction of the city and the country. Hi, everyone. I'm Susie Sa.
And I'm Juan Fernandez. This is KCAL9 News at 4, streaming on CBS News Los Angeles.
Well, two big stories this afternoon. People headed to the polls on a day that could see a lot of changes in the balance of power and a powerful storm that's led to evacuation orders.
We have live Storm Watch team coverage, beginning with KCAL9 meteorologist Markina Brown, who's tracking the rain right now. Markina.
Hey there, guys. Good afternoon. Yeah, this is pretty early for us to start seeing this kind of weather here in Southern California. But whenever it deals with rain, we will take it. You are looking live at Long Beach, where we are seeing the gray skies. Maybe not as much rain coming down right now, but they did have it going through. You can see radar right here. We are talking about moderate to heavy rainfall coming through not only areas like Long Beach, but as I widen out this picture, all of Southern California dealing with rain, some of it moderate, some of it light, and some of it heavy. The story has not been so much about isolated storms, but that is still a possibility as we go through the evening. As I widen out the picture here and take you northward, you can see that we've got more of that rain to make its way through. Now, as that precipitation, as you can see there, meets the cooler temperatures, that is going to mean the mountain snow that I am forecasting for us as we head toward later on tonight into the overnight, into the early morning hours for some of our mountain communities. Those higher elevations are definitely going to see a good amount of snow. So we are watching lots of active weather at this hour. We've got the rain, the possibility of storms, gusty winds, and also mountain snow. I will take you through everything you need to know as we go through the rest of the day. Coming up in just a little bit. Back to you.
All right, Markina, thank you so much. Well, today's rain turned deadly in Ontario. 6 people were swept into a wash this morning on East 4th Street near North Virginia Avenue. 1 person died. 2 others are still missing this afternoon. Firefighters are warning the public to stay away from that wash because the current is so powerful.
The warning has gone out to homeowners living near the bonfire burn scar in Orange County to get out.
That's right. KCAL9 Orange County reporter Michelle Geely is live this afternoon in Silverado Canyon, where there are mandatory evacuation orders now there. Michelle.
That's right. There are those who have left, but most people are choosing to stay. You can see that we're getting a pretty good dose of rain right now, and they've had some decent rainfall throughout the day that has most definitely soaked this area. The concern is that major rainfall could cause mud flows. A roadblock at the entrance to Silverado Canyon is keeping everyone out. Mandatory evacuations were put in place as the storm moved in, including the areas of Majeska and Williams Canyons.
Water was coming down the road, and it was diverting onto this lot.
Rich Pfeiffer is the block captain on Anderson Way. It's a spot that had major damage almost a year ago when mud and debris flowed from the bonfire burn scar. Pfeiffer's been digging trenches to keep stormwater flowing into the creek.
I'm worried about just a long drizzle and the creek going very slow, because that's going to clog the creek up. But if it rains to where we get enough flow in the creek, it's going to continue to help clean the creek out.
Clogged, Orange County Public Works used a vacuum truck to suck out leaves and mud in nearby Trabuco Canyon. Crews on Silverado Canyon Road, meantime, cleared a culvert and placed more sandbags in flood-prone areas. And there was some frustration at the bottom of the road when a local couple couldn't get back in to grab their pets and medication. Neighbors came to the rescue and picked them up at the roadblock.
It's always a knee-jerk reaction. Every single time they call this mandatory evacuation way too early. We've had a voluntary evacuation in order for the last 20 hours, but it's just not necessary all the time.
So only public safety and public works crews are being allowed past that roadblock. And there's no word yet as to when these evacuations will end. But I can tell you there are plenty of people still up here in the canyon, and there are people who are watching the radar, watching the weather maps, and they are concerned about a heavy band of rain that could come through here tonight when night falls, when you really can't see a lot. They're worried about severe mud and debris flows because it's happened here before in the wake of the Bond fire. That's the latest live in Silverado Canyon. I'm Michelle Gili. Back to you.
All right, let's talk about what's going on here. We have winter storm warnings and just issued a flash flood warning for Duarte. They are saying it is because debris flows are imminent in that area. So right here in the red, that area of Duarte, we have a pretty sizable rain cell making its way through, containing some pretty heavy rain. Again, no isolated storms, just heavy rain. It is fast moving, which is good. But until 4:45, we'll be watching out for that flash flood warning that has just been issued again for Duarte. We'll keep you updated as the rest of the afternoon goes on. This is ongoing, and as you can see, very active. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
And the very latest to Markina, thank you. The morning rain made a mess at this underpass in Boyle Heights. The drains were clogged and water couldn't run through them. So the intersection on South Soto Street near East Washington flooded out cars and minivans that tried to get through.
And I saw the water, right, the flood, and I just assumed, oh, I can go through that. Next thing I know, I was floating like a boat, just floating.
Emergency crews came out and unclogged the drains eventually. They want anyone who abandoned their vehicles at that intersection to please come back and get them.
And that rain couldn't drain fast enough on the 110 freeway in Highland Park earlier today. Early morning downpours flooded the lanes at Villa Marisol. You can see from Sky 9, traffic came to a standstill in the southbound lanes and moved slowly northbound. Maintenance crews spent the morning clearing those drains. The CHP reopened the freeway around 10 o'clock this morning.
All right, it is all sunshine and rainbows right now for Southern California's newest billionaire.
Unbelievable. A single ticket hit the Powerball jackpot. That ticket worth more than $2 billion.
It was sold in Altadena at Joe's Service Center on West Woodbury Road. And that's where KCAL9's Jake Reiner is live right now. Jake?
Juan and Susie, I don't know about sunshine and rainbows. It's pouring down pretty good here, but I'll step out of the way so you can take a look. I just want to show you how unprecedented this is. They have these signs made, millionaire made here. Well, they actually had to cover it with a B because this is the first billionaire in California lottery history.
I think everybody knows why we're here today.
Yes, we do, and so did the local and national news media, descending upon Joe's Service Center in Altadena Tuesday, where the only winning Powerball ticket in the entire country was sold here for a record-setting jackpot of over $2 billion.
The winner, once they come forward, which they have a year to do that, can opt to take the cash value, that lump sum, which is about $997 million, or they can take the annual payments over about 30 years. That'll add up to the $2 billion.
We may never meet the winner, but we did meet Joe Shahayed, who, because the winning ticket was bought at his shop, gets $1 million of his own. A Syrian immigrant, Joe came to this country in 1980 with his wife, 2 kids, $14,000 to his name, and an American dream.
All what I do, I work hard, 7 days a week. I raise my kids, graduate from the college. I bought a house and I bought a business, all because I work hard and I can become an honest man.
And now he's a millionaire.
My main goal is to spend the money with my grandchildren. I have 11 grandchildren and my 5 kids.
Joe says he was really hoping someone would win big here.
Every time I sell ticket to somebody from the neighborhood, I wish you good luck. I hope you will be winner.
Like Altadena resident Valerie H., who bought well over a dozen tickets at Joe's over multiple days leading up to the drawing. So how do you feel that someone that bought a ticket here at Joe's struck gold?
Struck gold. Hey, that's very good for him. I'm happy for him. And I hope next time it'd be me.
I hope so, too, for Valerie's sake. I also want to point out that the California Lottery also raised over $150 million for California public schools. That also is a state record. Reporting live in Altadena, I'm Jake Reiner, KCAL9 News.
There are less than 4 hours left until the polls close on this election day.
That's right. And one of the major races for LA mayor, of course, Karen Bass versus Rick Caruso. This afternoon, KCAL9's Leslie Marin is live at the Hollywood Palladium, where Bass and her team will watch the results tonight. Leslie?
Well, Susie, Juan, things just getting underway here at the Palladium. Behind me, I want to show you the scene because they're expecting a rather large crowd here tonight, hosted by the LA County Democratic Party. You can see the stage is set. They have the large California flag, as well as a stage being set up for a band that's going to play tonight. But we're not expecting Karen Bass until later today. She has been extremely busy. Take a look. This is video of the first thing she did today, which was vote. She was voting around 8:30 this morning with her grandson at her side at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall, where she voted also for the primary. Now, she also met for breakfast with Vice President Kamala Harris and her husband, along with actress Kerry Washington, as they encourage voters to get out and cast their ballots despite the rainy weather.
Please don't stay home because of the rain. If you don't have your ballot, you do have to go in to vote, and you can go to any voting center. Just go to lavote.gov. And if you do have your ballot, you don't even have to go anywhere. Just hand your ballot to the letter carrier and you will have voted today.
And of course, you still have time to vote tonight. But Bass has really spent the last several days hitting every inch of the city to talk to voters. Yesterday, she held a rally at UCLA with Vice President Harris as well, who headlined that event. Representative Karen Bass is leaving the U.S. Capitol after nearly 12 years in hopes of running the city of L.A. Now back out here live, as I said, this being held by the L.A. County Democratic Party. And it's really a chance for Karen Bass to show and flex the support she has from Democrats in power. We're expecting to hear from some big names tonight, including Adam Schiff, as well as Senator Alex Padilla. Of course, we'll be out here all night long. For now, reporting live from the Hollywood Palladium, Leslie Marin, Susie Juan, back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Leslie, thank you so much. Well, Bass's opponent, Rick Caruso, will watch the returns at a place he built.
KCAL9's Jeff Nguyen is live at the Grove in LA's Fairfax district with more on that. Jeff.
Well, Juan and Susie, as you mentioned, we are at the Grove. This was supposed to be an outdoor event, but they have set up this huge tent for the night because of the rain. Let's go ahead and roll some video for you to show you what happened earlier today. This afternoon, Rick Caruso and his family went to Boyle Heights to cast their votes. The billionaire developer says that he wanted to come back to the neighborhood where his grandparents started their lives after immigrating from Italy. Boyle Heights has been part of a ground game that has helped him to close a double-digit gap with Congresswoman Karen Bass in the last month, according to the most recent poll published in the LA Times. He has seen gains among likely Latino voters, and last night he visited a tiny homes homeless shelter in North Hollywood, and that is because the San Fernando Valley has nearly 1.5 million residents, which makes up about 38% of the city's population, which is why we've seen Caruso doing retail politicking in the valley in the last few days. We spoke to him after he cast his vote.
I feel great. I'm energized and motivated. We got the wind behind our back, and I encourage everybody to get out and vote. I mean, this is a critical vote for the city of Los Angeles, and I'm the vote of change.
Recent polls, including internal polling from the Caruso campaign, they all say that this race is a toss-up, so voter turnout has been the name of the game in the final hours. Caruso's campaign says that it has 400 paid workers who have been going out and knocking on doors to get out the vote. Bass's campaign says that they have about 75 field workers to do the same thing. They are focusing basically on making phone calls to get out the vote. The Caruso campaign says that the 400 walkers have been hitting every part of the city. However, the priority has been the San Fernando Valley, which you know why, because of all of those registered voters, as well as high density Latino precincts. They too are a priority. And in terms of messaging, we should tell you that he has stayed very focused on his messaging. He basically has been hitting his 3 points even on the last day of this election. Those 3 points have been the homelessness issue, crime, and also public corruption. We will stay here. Folks are just still hours away from showing up, so they've got this tent set up for this sort of outdoor event, and we will touch base with you as the night goes on. For now, we are live in the Fairfax District. Jeff Nguyen, KCAL9 News.
All right.
We'll send it back to you.
Jeff, thank you so much. And we're going to bring you Southern California's most in-depth and up-to-the-minute election coverage throughout the night right here on KCAL9. So stay with us for results from the top local, state, and national races.
And there are more local races to look at coming up next here at 4, the contentious race for LA County Sheriff, where with both candidates on Election Day.
Also, we're keeping our eye on that storm moving through Southern California right now. See where the rain is falling right now. Still ahead.
The heated battle to be LA County's next top cop comes to a head today. Sheriff Alex Villanueva versus Robert Luna on the ballot. And it's been a long, hard-fought campaign for incumbent Sheriff Villanueva, who's hoping voters will give him 4 more years heading that department. KCAL9 senior reporter Ross Palumbo is live in Montebello, where the sheriff and his supporters will be watching the returns tonight. Ross.
Well, Juan, we're already getting tonight some mixed signals coming out of the Villanueva campaign. His campaign manager telling me just a few minutes ago that he is feeling, quote, sick over the amount of coverage the sheriff has received in the last few months. As for the sheriff himself, though, he's still feeling cautiously optimistic. Take a look. We caught up with him as he was voting in La Habra Heights this morning at around 10 a.m. Just 5 days ago, you'll remember, a poll of likely voters saying that about 40% of them would vote for his challenger, former Long Beach Police Chief Robert Luna, only 32% for Villanueva. The sheriff would be only the second sheriff in LA County history to lose re-election as an incumbent. If those numbers hold true, he's already out today blaming the Board of Supervisors.
When I have the entire political establishment and the Board of Supervisors in particular supporting my opponent, they recruited someone to be their lapdog, to be their puppet, and there will be no checks and balances anymore. And one thing that's important about government is to have proper checks and balances. There has to be someone, there has to be an adult in the conversation, someone to say no to a bad idea and push for good ideas. And when everyone agrees and everyone thinks alike, well, then you longer. That's how democracy suffers. That's how good governance basically implodes.
Well, there are already some who would argue that the Villanueva administration has been imploding since day one of his term. He's had the ongoing battle with the Board of Supervisors, including investigating and searching the home of Supervisor Sheila Kuehl, fights with the LA County District Attorney George Gascon, nearly 24 lawsuits with employees, some of them claiming retaliation for supporting some of his challengers. The list goes on and on. His entire campaign strategy has been, in fact, not just to talk about what his accomplishments are, but to attack challenger Robert Luna over and over again. That has been his focus tonight. We're going to see whether that was the right choice. And Susie, again, those polls closing in less than 4 hours. When the returns begin coming in, we'll be here at Villanueva headquarters. For now, though, that's the very latest live in Montebello. Back to you.
All right, Ross, thank you so much. Well, Villanueva's challenger, Robert Luna, comes from outside the department. He's Long Beach's former police chief. KCAL9's Jasmine Gill is live at the Grand Event Center in Long Beach, where Luna and his team will watch the results come in tonight. Jasmine.
They will be here expecting the crowds, and yeah, you can see the setup getting underway. So we're here at the Grand. This is where Sheriff candidate Robert Luna will be holding that election night party. But I can tell you the winds have been whipping the tent. And if we just take a quick look, I just want to show you what the guests arriving will be still dealing with. All of the rain. Long Beach Mayor Robert Garcia will also be here. He is in the race for California's new 42nd congressional district. But take a look at some video. I want to show you Luna earlier today dropping off his ballot at the drop box there at the El Dorado Park West Community Center on Studebaker Road here in Long Beach. Now, latest poll, the UC Berkeley Institute of Governmental Studies had Luna ahead with likely voters and people who have already voted. Luna, as you said, the former Long Beach police chief, hoping to carry out the rare feat of ousting an incumbent sheriff, trying to do the same thing that Alex Villanueva did in 2018. Here's Luna acknowledging, yes, this storm today, the rain voters have had to deal with, but how critical it is to vote.
Yeah, I'm very encouraged by the last polling numbers, which showed me ahead. But I got to be honest with you, after I looked at the polling numbers, I put them off to the side. And I've been working my butt off. I've been out trying to connect with all the voters in LA County. And one thing is very clear from the majority of the voters that I'm speaking to, they are asking for change at the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department.
All right, and coming up at 5 on CBS 2, we're going to try to get a live interview with Mr. Luna here at the election night party at the Grand. It really kicks off, though, at 8 o'clock. Those results coming in shortly after the first batch. Live here in Long Beach, Jasmine Veal, KCAL9 News.
All right, Jasmine, thank you. And be sure to stay with us and watch as the results come in tonight. KCAL9 will have the most in-depth and up-to-the-minute results throughout the night. We're going to have the top national, state, and local races.
And another major top story for us today and into the night, of course, is going to be the weather.
That's right. A deluge today, Markina.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. What we want, but not what we want, right? We definitely need the rain, but you never want too much of a good thing. And that is exactly what we're dealing with here. I just talked about the flash flood warning that was issued for parts of east central LA County. We'll continue to watch that because it could cause debris flows for that area. You can see why the rain is really coming. This is our second wave, and this is a pretty strong one. We are looking at waves of rain just making its way through, moderate to heavy rainfall. What we are not seeing, and I believe it's because the air is colder, is the isolated storms. But we'll continue to watch out for that as we go through the evening. But what we are seeing with the colder air, as you can see right here, the mountain snow is already starting to form as that precipitation reaches the colder air. Here's what we are up against here. We've got flood advisories that are in effect. We've got flood watches that are in effect. Some go through tonight, others through tomorrow. We've also got wind. That is going to be a big part of the story because, as you know, when you have the already soaked ground and then you get a pretty good gust of wind, then you start to get trees down. And then, of course, we have winter storm warnings in effect for some of our mountain communities. So in terms of winds, this is what we have so far. And again, this is going to continue as we go through the night. Peak wind gusts for Malibu Hills, Lake Palmdale, Van Nuys, also LAX and Oxnard. Look at these gusts as high as 74 miles an hour. As we talk about the 7-day forecast, this system is going to lift up and out pretty quickly, and what it's going to leave behind is some drier air and eventual warming as we head toward the end of the week. So for tomorrow, for LA and Orange County, look for dry conditions. Cool though, 61 degrees is all we're going to do. We'll be in the mid to upper 60s as we head toward Thursday. Friday, we are in the low 70s, and then as we get toward the weekend, we're looking at more 60-degree temperatures. Valley should expect temperatures in the upper 60s tomorrow. Notice we are not talking about any rain here, but very fall-like temperatures, right? Even as we get into the weekend, temperatures will top out in the mid 60s. The IE should expect temperatures that will get into the 70s, albeit low 70s as we head toward the weekend. That is a gradual warm up to get there, though. Tomorrow we're looking at low 60s, upper 60s for Thursday and Friday, and low 70s to at least kick off the weekend. That is a look at what we're doing. We're going to stay on top of this system as it makes its way through, and that'll be as we go through tonight and into the overnight, and it'll last at least, looks like for some, through tomorrow morning. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Markina. A fraudster on Instagram ahead. This influencer lays out how he got one victim to give him nearly $1 million.
And accused of exotic animal trafficking. Next, what will happen to the woman accused of putting this jaguar cub up for sale?
A Texas woman accused of selling an endangered jaguar cub turned herself in to Riverside County authorities today. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Tricia Myers sold this cub to a Riverside County man for $30,000 in the spring of last year. And that would be a violation of the Endangered Species Act. If convicted, she could be sentenced to 8 years in prison. The man she's accused of selling the cub to expected in court tomorrow.
The Instagram influencer, known for flaunting his lavish lifestyle on social media, was sentenced today right here in L.A. The man known as Ray Hush Puppy got 11 years in prison. His real name is Ramon Abbas. Prosecutors say his schemes netted more than $24 million. He wrote a letter to the judge admitting he got a New York law firm to wire him nearly $1 million after claiming it was for a client's real estate financing. Abbas has been detained for 2 years in Dubai, but will serve his sentence in the United States.
We are covering two major stories this afternoon, the Southland storm and the midterm election.
The countdown is on to cast those ballots. I'm Rick Montanez live at the registrar's office in Norwalk. Coming up, I talked with election officials. We'll explain how things are going at the vote centers next.
And meteorologist Markina Brown keeping watch on the Doppler radar. Find out how much more rain is headed our way. That's coming up next.
Live from the broadcast center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL9 News at 4.
It's round number 2 of the rain. Here's a look at Malibu from our SkyCam network. It's been raining all day, and after getting pounded during the morning commute, the storm is now dumping more rain for the afternoon drive.
Ooh, meteorologist Markina Brown is tracking that storm. She's back with an update for us now. Markina?
Hey there, guys. We're watching the rain and also the wind. Don't forget, we've got high wind warnings in effect as we go through later on tonight. Let's talk about what the winds are doing currently. As you can see, they are aggressive. We are seeing yellows and oranges. Lancaster, you've got the winds blowing up to 24 miles an hour. The folks in Big Bear at 22-14 in parts of the IE. Santa Ana looking at them gust at 20 right now. But as we fast forward the clock and take you through what you should expect next, this is just in the wind department. They are going to get even more aggressive. Lancaster at 22. This is as we head toward later on this evening. 12 for Ontario. Notice all of the activity, or at least the bulk of it, is in some of the mountain and desert areas where we see them gust up and over 50 miles an hour easily here. So we will continue to monitor for you not only the rain, not only the snow, mountain snow, but also the potential for some very dangerous winds. We'll continue to do that for you as we go through the rest of the afternoon and the evening. Guys, back to you.
All right, Markina, thank you. This storm has prompted some evacuation orders in the San Gabriel Valley's burn areas.
KCAL9's Candace Crone continues our team coverage live from Duarte now near the fish fire burn scar. Candace.
Yeah, the rain has been pretty spotty all this afternoon. It was a little heavier about 20 minutes ago. I do want to show you, though, there is a patrol car deputy here staged. They have this area blocked off as mandatory evacuations are underway. 25 homes in this area. And I'm told everyone decided to stay, all keeping their eyes on the hillside, making sure it stays in place.
We're prepared. We have our documents ready, our pets ready. So, and you can see our cars ready just to go if in case we actually need to.
Yvonne Carpillo got ready in advance to ride out the storm, expected to bring several inches of rain to his Duarte neighborhood. Some 25 homes are under mandatory evacuation orders. K-Rail's line Mill Canyon Road as sheriff deputies posted up ahead of the rain. Valley View Elementary School closed for the day as a precaution. The big concern, debris and mud flows from where the fish fire burned much of the hillside above this area last June.
This is an uncontrolled drainage right here. That's why all those folks have been asked to evacuate. So bottom line is we're looking real good. We have special equipment in the area and we're doing patrols. So if anything would happen to any of the homes, we could still have access to the homes.
The sheriff came yesterday, knocked on our door, and they said, it's mandatory. You have the option to stay, but you got to sign a paper telling us that you're going to stay.
Kent Gordon is also staying put. He rode out the storm 6 years ago that sent mud into the neighborhood. He and others say they're not too worried about what to expect this time around.
The fire that we just had over the summer up there wasn't as severe as it was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, it burned quite a bit of the hill, so more mud came down. That was a smaller fire, but it was in the same location as the old one, so that's why they were concerned about mudslides.
Now, the winds this afternoon have been pretty off and on as well. We did see a fire patrol just a few minutes ago driving around this area, so they are monitoring the conditions from the ground. We're live in Duarte. Candace Crone, KCAL9 News.
All right, Candace, thanks so much. The storm, of course, making for a soggy election day.
Yeah, and that, of course, raising questions about turnout at the polls. KCAL9's Rick Montanez is live this afternoon at the LA County Registrar in Norwalk with more on turnout and the count. Rick?
Yeah, Susie and Juan, we just have under 3.5 hours to get those ballots cast. And as far as turnout goes, I mean, just look behind me. We are seeing a steady line of cars at the ballot drop box. That has been the case for the past few hours out here, steadily rolling through. Of course, the drop-off makes it a bit easier to avoid all the rain that's been coming down today. We've also, though, seen plenty of people coming down here despite the weather, noting the importance of casting their ballots. The LA County Registrar is reporting before the start of today, a 20% turnout in early voting across the county. That's nearly 1.2 million ballots cast before Election Day. Now that this is the final day to vote, people are rushing to get their ballots turned in. Lots of people still prefer the in-person voting method, and some voters are also still going inside to just drop off their ballots. There are lots of options and good reasons to pick one and go vote. 400 ballot drop boxes, 640 vote centers are open until 8 o'clock tonight, and if you're waiting until then, you should expect long lines.
I drop it off. I've gone inside. I've done a little of both. I've been with Norwalk for a very long time, and I love the service.
And you get a break in the rain right now.
Yes, I am. And almost forgot to come, but I said, no, this is first priority.
Well, it's a lot easier now, especially with technology. So we're able to go in there and just simply vote, touchpad instead of just writing it down and things like that. It's pretty much easier than it was before from the first time I voted.
It is important. I mean, we can't complain if we don't come out and do our voting.
So even with the rain and the lines, people are generally in good spirits. There was one reported problem with a power outage at a vote center in Sierra Madre this morning, but I talked with election officials just a short time ago. They say a team was able to take care of that, and other than the rain, there really have been no widespread issues. Everything is going according to plan so far. Reporting live in Norwalk, Rick Montanez, KCAL9 News.
It's great to see that turnout. Rick, thank you. And stay with us. We'll be here all night long with Southern California's most in-depth and up-to-the-minute election coverage for you. We'll be on top of all the top local, state, and national races.
People magazine announces its sexiest man alive. Find out if you agree ahead. Checking the markets and your money now. Stocks rallied for a third day today with investors eyeing tonight's election. The Dow gained 339 points or 334 points today. The Nasdaq gained 52 and the S&P 500 was up 21. It looks like the big drops in gas prices are finally coming to an end.
But they're only falling by a fraction of a penny a day. So in LA County, the average price is now $5.52 for a gallon of regular unleaded. In Orange County, it's $5.41. And in the Inland Empire, it's $5.38. AAA says there is a worldwide shortage of diesel and other types of fuel made by refineries because of the war in Ukraine. Local refineries are now maximizing their production of those products.
You are looking at People Magazine's sexiest man alive, Chris Evans. The former Captain America says he knows his friends will tease him about it, but at least the honor will make his mother proud. And in his acceptance speech, he reminded everyone, go vote.
Our coverage of the midterm election continues. Up next, the battle for control of Congress.
The battleground race is driving voters to the polls today.
I'm Jim Hill. Coming up in sports, we're going to take a look at the latest college football playoff rankings released just a couple of moments ago. We'll have that and a lot more for you when I come back later in sports.
We are still seeing a good amount of rain come down in parts of Southern California, but how much more rain to go? We'll talk about it coming up.
Turn now to the battle for control of Congress. Democrats are holding on to a razor-thin majority.
That's right, and Republicans hope to change that tonight. KCAL9 political reporter Tom Wade is here now to show us what to look out for tonight.
Yeah, some big races, and the battle for Congress is at stake. We'll see how it goes. Both the House and Senate could change hands tonight or not. We'll see. So here we go. All right, let's start with the U.S. House. All 435 seats are up for grabs tonight. Right now, Democrats hold a majority with 220 seats, as you can see from our handy-dandy map. The Republicans have 212. A party needs at least 218 states to gain control of the House. So that means Republicans need to pick up 5 seats to take control. And there are a lot of vulnerable Democrats in the Northeast, which means we could get an early indication early this evening whether or not Republicans are on the path to victory there. Now, to the U.S. Senate, 35 seats are up for grabs. Right now, it's an even split, 48 Democrats along with 2 independents who team up with the Democrats and 50 Republicans. But Democrats control the majority because the vice president has the tie-breaking vote. Did you get all that? Republicans need a net gain of just 1 seat to take control of the Senate. So let's take a look at some battleground races and some polls that just closed a short time ago. First off, the Senate race in Georgia has drawn national attention. Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock is in a dead heat with Republican challenger Herschel Walker. Senator Warnock won the seat in a special election just 2 years ago. Walker is a former NFL running back endorsed by former President Donald Trump and has faced accusations he paid for secret abortions from women in his past. He's denied those allegations. Georgia has a runoff rule. So if no one gets more than 50% of the vote tonight, there will be a runoff election in December. This Georgia Senate race is rated a toss-up. So earlier we spoke with CBS Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan about what's at stake for the battle for Congress.
We really are seeing a surge in turnout for midterm races. Historic in nature, we've already seen 43 million people cast their votes in places that are going to be closely watched, like the state of Georgia. We've seen early voting really come in at record numbers. Now, this is an election that's not about electing a president, but it's about control of Congress. And we're also seeing there are so many races to replace governors in certain states in the country. But it's 35 Senate seats that are up for grabs. And right now, CBS News has been expecting that Republicans will gain control of the House and that in the Senate, it's really a toss-up.
All right, so you can see just behind me here, we have some of the numbers coming in the U.S. Senate race in Georgia. We don't have exact percentages of the vote they're in, but you can see right now the Democrat incumbent Raphael Warnock holding on at 59.4% versus Herschel Walker at 39.1%. Again, these are very early numbers. Polls just closed in Georgia. We'll keep track of all that for you. Have an update on CBS 2 News at 5. Susie and Juan, back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you so much. All right, from the balance of power to the major state and local races, don't forget we have you covered all night long, so be sure to stay with us right here on KCAL9.
All right, let's take one more look at the forecast with meteorologist Markina Brown. Markina.
Hey there, guys. Good evening. Yeah, this rain is another thing that's going to be with us all night long. It'll be on and off, but for the most part, it is going to be a very wet night and into tomorrow morning and cold. We are watching radar right now. You can see the rain. You could see the snow already starting to form in some of our mountain communities in the higher elevation. Some of the rain that's coming down, as you can see, contains not necessarily isolated storms, but some moderate to heavy rainfall that we'll continue to watch as we go through the rest of the evening. Speaking of, it is election day, and as we go through the evening, as I said, the rain's going to stick with us, and it is going to be on the chilly side with temperatures in the mid 50s, maybe some upper 50s. But when you combine that with the gusty winds that we are also seeing, it is going to be cold and very winter-like. Let's track this rain for you hour by hour, starting at about 6 o'clock. You can see it is just going to keep coming off and on, but again, you could get into some pretty good rain, especially in parts of the Inland Empire as we go through the evening and into tomorrow morning. We start to dry out, we start to clear up, and temperatures start to increase. It is going to be warmer, not by much, but as we get into tomorrow and especially by the end of the week and into the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, let's get to it. For the beaches, we are looking at temperatures that'll be in the mid 60s for you as soon as Thursday and Friday. Saturday, we're looking at temperatures right around 65. You start to cool down by the end of the weekend. The high desert should expect temperatures in the mid 50s tomorrow, upper 50s as we get into Thursday, and then 60s come back into the mix for you as we get into the end of the week and into the weekend. It is going to be kind of cloudy on some days. In and out clouds is what we'll call it for you, but you will see some sunshine. For the mountain communities, we're looking at temperatures that'll be in the 50s over the next couple of days, perhaps seeing more activity as we head toward the end of the week and into the weekend. We will keep you posted there. But bottom line, the folks are loving the fresh powder we are seeing in the mountain communities. Guys, back to you.
Markina, thanks. Well, it's fitting that a poll tops sports on election night. We're talking about the latest college football playoff poll.
That's right. KCAL9 Sports Director Jim Hill is here now with the just released rankings. Jim?
And when we have these rankings, I mean, it's a topic of discussion in all of sports right now, that's for sure. The latest edition of the college football playoff rankings were just revealed really just moments ago, my friends. USC moved up one spot to number 8, while UCLA stood pat at number 12. The Georgia Bulldogs take the top spot after their commanding 14-point victory over Tennessee, which fell from number 1 to number 5. Ohio State comes in ranked at number 2, followed by Michigan at 3, and TCU is ranked number 4. Oregon moved up 2 spots to number 6, while LSU jumped to number 7 following their victory over Alabama, who dropped 3 positions. Meanwhile, the 8-1 Trojans have scored over 40 points in each of their last 3 games, but have surrendered 38 points per game over that same period. They'll have a chance to really get back on track on Friday against a Colorado offense that's scoring just 15 points a game, the fewest in the Pac-12.
Their record might not show up, but they haven't given up on the season yet. Those guys are still out there fighting, and so, we're not going to take anyone lightly. We're going to give that team respect, and we're going to go out there and play our game, regardless of how they're feeling or what they're thinking or how they think they're going to come out or anything like that. We're going to go play our game. Like I said, they're not a team that's given up. They're still playing hard. They're still fighting.
Meanwhile, the UCLA Bruins are off to their best start since 2005. After putting up 50 points in the desert against Arizona State, the 8-1 Bruins will return to Pasadena to host the 3-6 Arizona Wildcats on Saturday night. To the NFL we go now. The Chargers and Wallace Annenberg, a Pet Space team, they teamed up for a very special Pet Space community event today in Playa Vista. Charger players stood and came by to read to kids and play with adoptable dogs and cats. I caught up with Chargers' newly signed kicker Cameron Dicker just 2 days after his game-winning field goal on Sunday against the Falcons.
It's amazing being out here, just kind of seeing kids having fun, just enjoying life. I think of myself as a kid still, 22, just enjoying life, and so it's cool to see them out here having fun and for me to be able to do the same thing.
Oh yeah, we all had a good time. Now both the Lakers and the Clippers are off today, and the rest of the NBA is part of the league's promotion of nonpartisan civic engagement to encourage basketball fans to get out and vote on this election day. And with that in mind, we decided to put out a poll on who the Lakers should trade this season. The significant majority of votes were to trade Anthony Davis or Russell Westbrook rather than trading Kendrick Nunn and Patrick Beverley or moving their 2 first-round draft choices in the future. Everybody has an opinion on what the Lakers should do.
No doubt about that.
Everybody.
Everybody. All right, Jim, thank you so much.
You got it.
America's midterms count on CBS News, live from Times Square, with fair, accurate results in real time and powerful insights on what matters most as America decides. Tuesday on CBS and streaming all day.
Get CBS News Los Angeles on the CBS News app. Download now.
Got your phone handy? Of course you do. Scan this right here. Download the CBS LA app. And just like that, you're connected to all the best local news and videos. Now, if only everything were this easy.